Good morning and welcome. I'm Bob Pace, and I'm your host on this live stream, Fighting CPS and Hang On to Your Children. It is now March 1st, Saturday, and this is my 8 o'clock live stream that normally is at 10 o'clock during the weekdays, but on the weekends I come on at 8. So I want to welcome you all to a live stream about how to fight CPS and how to hang on to your children. Now, CPS, I call the Child Protection Systems. Now, there's systems in every county and every state. And I call them systems because there's just too many names to say all the time. So when I say CPS, I mean the Child Protection System. It may be like in California and Orange County, Child Protection Services. Next door to LA County's Department of Children and Family Services. In Prescott, Arizona's Department of Children's Services. In Richmond, Kentucky, it's called the Cabinet. So it's just easy for me to say Child Protection System, CPS. So it's a warm welcome. And I'm not an attorney. I'm a loving father and a husband. I've raised 6 children. I have over 42 years of marriage experience. And I've been doing this live stream now for 17 months, since October 2023. I've talked to over 1,000 people, and they're from all walks of life. But they all have something common like I did. I too had a CPS case. It's when you're economically going through hard times. And it really seems to hit most of us because we can't afford an attorney. That's the sad part, is because you're dealing with an entity that lies, that has gone rogue. Not all of CPS is bad or evil, but the ones that I encountered in Orange County, California, and the ones that over 1,000 people have counted in all 50 states, and also I've encountered in 21 countries, these people have called from or text from. And they all seem to have something really in common. That's the trouble with the CPS. And so I'm glad you're here because I want to help you. I know what you're going through. There's a lot of you that are regulars this room here, and there's about 25 to 50 of you that appear all the time, which I'm glad you're here. They relate their story and whatnot. Now, I'm not a lawyer, and as I said, I'm a loving father and husband, and have helped raise 6 children and have over 42 years of marriage experience, a lot of life skills. But not all CPS is bad, but apparently the over 1,000 people, they think it's bad. I think it's bad. I too was a victim of CPS. I did not know anything about them. I wish I had known my rules because I've never been involved in CPS. CPS is a wake-up call for a lot of us because we can't believe that a government entity would be this corrupt. Now, what Congress did, they mandated that our children get protected, and they entrusted the social service program to create a program that would take care of our children from neglect and abuse. And so that's where these different names come up, because there's so many different names. But anyway, the child protection system is protected by social services, and every county and every state has one. Also, every country has one too. I don't know how many or what stories. I'm still learning about CPS problems in other countries. It seems to be a worldwide epidemic, and a lot of people are finding it very difficult to get their kids back, and their kids are taken when they're not in imminent danger. Now I'm on, as I said, typically at 10 o'clock, Monday through Friday, but on the weekends I'm on at 8 o'clock in the morning. Nighttime, all 7 days I'm on at 7 p.m. That's Pacific Standard Time, the West Coast of California. So that's 14 live streams, and it's twice a day, 7 days a week. Now, there's many ways you can interact with this live stream. This first one, you're in this room, please take notes and listen. And you can send me emojis. That's like thumbs up, hearts, smiley faces, even stars at me. And please check the follow button to follow me. And if you want to know when I'm on, please check the notification button. So I'm just glad that you've found me, because what you're going through is terrible. I know that most of you are searching the Facebook for CPS rooms, and there's lots of them. But I think there are other people that do live streaming, but not as much as I do. I do this 7 days a week, twice a day. It's 14 shows a week of live stream. And I met some really remarkable people that have fought. I've talked to social workers on here, and I've talked to clinical psychiatrists, and I've talked to foster parents. So I talked the whole gamut. I've yet to talk to any policemen that have been involved in CPS, but I've talked to a lot of people. Now, when typing in a message or texting in a message, it's either about a CPS comment or a CPS question. We got to keep it earmarked to CPS. Now, please show me your first name, the city or county, the state or country, and be complete with your CPS case. Tell much as you can about it so I can help you. Now, a third way in interacting in this live stream, you could be a guest on my live stream. All you have to do is email my show producer. Her name is Grace, and she would gladly help you get on my show. She will send you a link. It will be for StreamYard, and we broadcast on YouTube. And she'll explain to you about the rules, yes, no things about doing. Anyway, 9 of you can be on the show as a guest at one time. With me makes 10. And I'd love to have you. You can talk and help answer questions and make the room really interesting. Now, she'll tell you what to do, what to say, and things like no eating or smoking on the live stream. Be a guest. Now, the last thing I want to tell you, the fourth way of interacting in this live stream is to call me. There's my phone number, 626-698-0990. And that means I'm live. You can talk to me during my show times. Cannot call me before or after because I'll not answer. And now, if you call in or a guest on my show, you'll be entitled to a free 15-minute session with my attorney, Vincent W. Davis. Now, he is a juvenile family law dependency lawyer. He's juvenile law, family law, and dependency law. And he's been doing it for 39 years. He's also a former foster youth. And he has gotten back thousands of children back. He also is a trial attorney. And he's done lawsuits. When the case is over, you can sue them for your constitutional rights being violated. And he's won cases both in federal court and in state court. So he's the real deal. And as I say, if you call in and talk to you on the show, or if you're a guest and you talk on the show, I will gladly help you out with getting 15 minutes of time with Mr. Davis. All you have to do is ask. Now I'll leave my number up for a while. There's another number you'll probably see there, 888-888-6582. That's my law office, is Mr. Davis. And you can call into that number if you want to hire Mr. Davis right away, or if you want to buy a book, a guide on how to do steps of CPS, or there's a new one out called the Grandparent Guide and Steps to Adopt Your Grandchildren, to see your grandchildren. It's a real excellent guide. It's $9.99, but with my code, you get half off. My code is PACE, PACE 50, all capital letters. And they'll give you that so that's the second number. And also below my screen that is running the ticket is if you want to talk longer than 15 minutes to Mr. Davis, you can pay $60 with your credit card at the website that's going across my screen at the bottom. You can get 30 minutes for $60. And that's a special deal I made with Vincent Davis. And he'll talk to you in a private Zoom. So right now, there's two ways that you can get Mr. Davis. One is free for 15 minutes. Another one, you pay $60 for 30 minutes. And anyway, if you know you have your mind made up, you need to hire him, he will be available. He will be available. Now, I have 5 rules I've come up with, and I tell them about every show. And I'll tell them really quick right now, then I go into depth of them. Rule number 1 is you need to hire an attorney. I don't know how important that is. Fighting CPS is like doing open heart surgery. What I mean by that, if you can imagine open heart surgery, you as a layperson would never cut open your chest cavity, pull your heart out, and operate on it. You don't have the expertise. And that holds true with fighting CPS. You don't have the expertise. You don't know how to navigate them. They'll lie. They'll twist and turn on you. And they have lots of money, lots of power. So I'm telling you, you got to be really careful. Now, this being early, sometimes people don't like to get up that early on Saturday, and I don't blame them. I don't blame them. And but I do like to try to help you. And going over the rules, the first one I say is to get an attorney. And you have to get a real attorney, not a public defender or a court-appointed attorney. The public defender or court-appointed attorney is kind of useless because they're not trained in juvenile law, family law, or dependency law. They may not necessarily have the experience of fighting CPS. Okay, now, when you're looking for an attorney, you try to get 3 quotes from 3 different attorneys. And it's very important you look up the right kind of attorney. Some of you get the wrong kind of attorney. You have to understand, a criminal attorney will not fight CPS. A divorce attorney will not fight CPS. A real estate attorney, a injury attorney, immigration, etc. They're not dealing with CPS. You need that specialized attorney. And so there's 2, you have to look it up. Now look it up. I want you to use my rule number 4. It's very important that you phrase your words correctly when doing a search. Now, it's important that you have the right order of the words. You start off with a city, followed by a state, and then followed by the letters CPS. And you'll get numerous things related to that city and state. If you happen to be from a country, make sure you include your country after your state or province, if you have a state or province. And then put that CPS. Now, if you want to further refine that CPS, you can put, after the CPS, you can put what you're looking for. Like here, you're looking for an attorney. So you put down there, need a juvenile law, family law, and a dependency attorney who has fought CPS. So right away, names will pop up. All you have to do is call 2 of them, because one of them I'm going to give you, Vincent Davis. He already qualifies to do everything. And you can talk to him. Because what you're doing right now is you're finding some attorneys that you can call and talk to. And I say choose 3 because it does take that much to know if you like his attorney or you have good chemistry or something. If you have good chemistry. Now, when you're researching on the internet, you may also find that sometimes the city's too small. So like if you're in Athens, Georgia, you may want to put Athens, Atlanta, Georgia, then your CPS. And you'd be surprised what comes up. And you want to spend at least 60 to 80 hours with that. 60 to 80 hours. Now that you've found 2 other attorneys, you're going to call them and ask them 2 questions. The first question is, are you a professional licensed juvenile law, family law, dependency attorney who's fought CPS and gotten children back? If the answer is yes, you continue on with the second question. And that's after you finish your case. The question you ask is, the second question is, have you ever, after the case is finished, filed a lawsuit against CPS in state court or federal court and got money back? If the answer is yes, then you got yourself a good candidate to talk to. All you need is 2, because I gave you the third one, Vincent Davis. Then you make appointments to talk to them. and you want to, ask for their references. They should provide you 3 references. And then you could meet with them and see how the chemistry is and find how much the retainer is. But that's so important to get an attorney, because the attorneys are the one that'll see through everything. You're at a disadvantage when you're in CPS's court. Now, once you get that attorney, you make up your mind, then you go run with that attorney. And that attorney will help you. Make sure you use him. Couple things about pro se and pro bono. Pro se is when you want to defend it yourself. That is a big no-no, because you will not be able to fight social services CPS attorneys. And pro bono means an attorney that will do it for nothing. Well, it's very hard to find somebody with the expertise who'll do it for nothing. You can try, but it's like your court-appointed attorneys. There's no driving force behind them. They're not trained in juvenile law, family law, or dependency law. They certainly won't come and fight for your case. Now let's move on to rule number 2. That's documents. It's very important to have good documents, because you're going to be fighting these people for a long time. It may take you at least a year, because some of the programs are year long. And you also want to track everything and document everything. You want to do as much video and audio, so you need to go to public places. Don't do your home, and do not do their office. Go to Starbucks or McDonald's. That's a public place. And take your audio, visual, and your written notes about what transpired and what went on. Now, I think the best way to keep track of all your documents is to get a notebook. 3-ring binder, about 3 inches thick, 4 inches thick, and get some dividers and divide it up there accordingly. And a very important document, you need to get some college rule notebook paper, is to start a time log of incidents. Every time there's an incident, you record it. And you want to use 3 sentences or 3 lines per incident. Incidents can be from the social worker, from the police, from the school administrator, etc. So you start off with the phone number, and then you want to put down the date and time and the location and who you talk to. The second line is a summary. The second sentence is that summary. It's a sentence long, like what was the incident? Then the third thing is the outcome. And the outcome is the results of the incident. And that's another sentence there. So you have 3 lines that are used up, and you proceed to the next incident and the next incident. So this incident time log will be important, because 6 months from now, you won't remember everything. Other documents are your court papers, and then your court certificates, your parent course certificates, your program certificates, any drug testing you do, those kinds of things. You want to put it all in your notebook there. That now goes on to number 3. Number 3 is you do not answer the door or let social workers in your home. Same thing goes for the police. Protect your children at all costs. Protect your children. Now, they will have a tendency when they hear from a mandated reporter or a layman. There's 2 kinds of reporters. Mandate are professionals required by law to report any mental report any child having difficulties at at home, like they're being abused or neglected or something like that. They are usually the professionals, your doctors, nurses, and policemen and firemen and school administrators and stuff. And now, what I'm saying about Rule 3, that's where it gets dangerous because too many parents, including myself, give permission to these people to enter your home and search it. You don't have to, and you shouldn't. You need to have your attorney present. So don't answer the door. Don't make any sound. Let them do what they need to do. They'll bang at the door and they'll try to get their ways in. But unless they have an order signed, they can't do so. Now, there's also another thing you got to be worried about is being shot at when you open the door. That's why you don't open the door. You never know who's there. Too many people have been killed point blank by a sheriff that is wants to kill first before he finds out. I don't know what it is with them, but they certainly aren't the greatest people around. So. Also, if you happen to be outside and you encountered the social worker or the police, be nice and courteous, but don't talk to them. Anything you do say can be held against you. Also, you want your attorney present before you go any further. So just tell them very nicely, I'd like to talk to you, but I need my attorney present since this is a criminal matter and I'm being charged. And so you need to have your attorney present. Now, there's another part of number 3, which is medical trafficking. That's where you bring your child in to urgent care or the hospital, and a social worker has you working there, and they kidnap your child. They'll ask for your child. They overhear something they don't like to hear, and they'll try to do that. Whatever you do not give up your children. Do not give up your children. It's very important. They need a court order, a warrant, before they can enter your home. They need permission from your parents, so don't give them permission, and don't have anybody else give permission. That's all very, very, very important. Okay. Mhm. Hey, K Diamond Rock. Glad you came in here. You're new the other day. I think this is your second time. So if you're outside with your kids playing and they walk up to you, is it best to work away or go back into your home? It's best to, if they're in your yard, it's the best to acknowledge them very nicely. Say, hi, how can I help you? If they say, I'm a policeman or I'm from social services or CPS, tell them that you can't talk to them because you need your attorney present. It's very important that you have your attorney present. I just had someone call in. Call. I just had a gentleman call in, so I had to take care of that. So it's best to walk away or go back in your home. You can go back in your home, but they may hail you. It's better that if they see you, you see them, then you say, "How can I help you?" And they say that we need to go in your home or we need to see your children. We have a complaint. You tell them, "I can't talk to you. I need to have my attorney present." You have to have your attorney present, okay? And I forgot where you're at. So, hello again, Diamond Rock, and welcome, Betty. I hope you're feeling better today. Hello, are we not on the phone? Hello, we are here, not on the phone. I'm sorry. I had a person that wanted to call in, and I had to text them back a question. Well, I'm off. Okay, I'm sorry you came on so quick and you have to leave so quick. Betty, you have a great day. It's good to see you again. Betty is from Montana, and she has a case where she has lost her granddaughter. And so you're in Hartford, Connecticut, Maryland. Okay, I remember you now, K Rock. Hartford County, Maryland. Well, good to see you. Good to see you. And so that is great. So Betty's a regular person in here. K Diamond Rock has been in once before, and he's from County, Maryland. So try not to talk to them, but if they're out there, then just take their name and phone number, check their IDs, and you can handle that. Okay, K Diamond Rock. All right. Now, as I was talking about my rules, there is another one is the medical transfer, and that's where they show up at urgent care or at the hospital. You have to be there to take your children in. Something may be wrong. It's very important when you're there at urgent care or that you are in the emergency room that you do not talk to social workers because they will try to take your child. So don't let that happen. They have to have a court warrant. Also, if you're having a baby, don't let them take your baby. I don't care if they're the police with you. Again, they have to have a court warrant. Okay, so that's rule number 3. Now, rule number 4, I'd already spoken about. That's where you use the internet for 68 hours to look up things. It's the format you want to use. Remember, the correct words is very important. Now, rule number 5 is where you want to get all your documents, your license, your birth certificates, your children's birth certificates, your marriage certificates, the grade reports, any shot records, those kind of things, all the important documents. Make copies, put in an envelope, and hang on with your notebook with them because they will come in handy. They will come in handy. All right, so now I've covered my 5 rules, and we have about 20 minutes left of the live stream. So if any of you like to call in, I'm more than happy that you would. I am more than happy that you would. And again, I apologize, Betty. I had to take the phone call on the phone because people do call in, or I was texting them. So I try to give everybody as much attention as I can. So there was only a couple minutes you had to wait for me to get off the phone. So, yeah, I'm looking at the time that she came in here. And so we've had several people this morning. I've covered my rules. I covered how they interact in this podcast. I think right now we can talk a little about Core Digest. And the last time we were talking about Core Digest, by the way, Cora is a people that write in with answers to questions. Now, one of the things that keeps coming up is that can CPS interview my child at school without my knowledge? Now, the answer to this, Yes, the Children Protective Services, CPS, can interview a child at school without parental knowledge or consent in certain situations. This typically occurs when there are allegations of abuse or neglect, and the agency believes that interviewing the child without parental presence is necessary to ensure the child's safety and obtain accurate information. Schools are often required to cooperate with CPS investigations. They may not notify parents afterwards, depending on the circumstances and state laws. However, specific procedures can vary by state, so it's advisable to check the regulation um, in your area for detailed information. If you have concerns about CPS involvement, it may be beneficial to consult with a legal professional. And that was answered by a bot. Now, here's another question. What should I do? That's I have to skip that one because there's no answer there. They have a bot named Poe, Poe. Okay. Let's see if there's more questions here. Now, here's Kelly. They answered the question. Yes, they can, nor they don't even have a teacher in the room. It's one of the main things that frustrate me. A couple years ago, my oldest fell on my sidewalk and got a bruise on his arm. Instead of school asking what happened, they called CPS. A cop and a CPS worker talked to my then 8-year-old son alone. He has autism and CP, so they could have gotten him to say anything. He told them he fell. I said the same thing. The main reason his bruise was because of the meds he takes for epilepsy. There was also a blood thinner. Once the cop sold the bottle, he told the soldier that's why he has a bruise. They closed the case and left me alone. Well, that came out a happy ending. Let me check to see if there's another question. K. Diamond Rock, is unemployment grounds for CPS to take a child from the parent? No, it's not. In fact, if you lost your job like I did, it should not be a factor at all, long as you still provide them shelter and food. Now, they should also help you with shelter and food too. They should help you with food and shelter. Being in employment is not grounds to take a child. That's not due to neglect. If you don't feed them and you don't clothe them, and you don't house them, then that is neglect. And yes, it could be, but not because you don't have a job. So if that helps you out. There. Now, Kim answered this question about can they interview a child? Yes, they can enter the building and report to administrator there to speak to your child one-on-one. They'll generally interview the administrator, probably a teacher. They can take as long as they wish. Your child can refuse to cooperate. They can walk away from them and return to the classroom. They do not have to answer questions, but their actions shouldn't appear to be acts of defiance instructed by you. Your child should answer truthfully. If they should come to your home, you have the right to ask for a court order before allowing them to enter your home. You also have the right to videotape them entering your home, in your house, and throughout the interview. The same is for any time they question your children, even if you use your phone. If they argue, I've been advised you can state you're doing so under the Freedom of Information Act. The Freedom of Information Act. That's a good answer. Now, Sandy says, well, they tried. My then 8-year-old SPED kid was called in the office conference room and two people he didn't know tried to ask him questions. He went full rage and started screaming for them not to touch him. It got worse. He demanded them to leave him alone. One of the office workers opened the door and he raced out and ran home. It was about 8 miles away. He made it home. Took him about 3 hours. By that time, I had been called. The school was looking for him. So were the cops. I kept asking why they would scare a boy that bad. When he got home, the cops and both CPS workers were still there at school. He started to scream at them, and they tried to touch him. The cops pulled a CPS worker from my home. Never did find out what they wanted, even with my attorney's help. The school was very shocked and put into place rules that the principal or vice principal had to be present for any other meetings. They were very much afraid that they're going to be sued. This was years ago. Wow. I'm trying to find some other questions that would be good that would be pertain there. I'm looking for questions, and again, it's nice to see Kay Diamond Rock from Hartfield, Connecticut, Maryland, and Betty from Montana. It was great to see you. Okay. Mm-hmm. Let's see on Quora here so we can find something that works here. I'm trying to find another subject besides the interview of your kids at school. Well, I'm looking for another topic here. We have about 10 minutes left. My podcast is over at 9 o'clock, and right now it's 10 minutes till. Kay Dimerock has another question. Do CPS show up at your appointments, such as doctor appointments and or child support appointments? Not necessary unless they're trying to dog you or investigate you. Your doctor's appointments are your own personal matters. CPS should not know about your doctor's appointment or when your appointments with your kids unless they're told. So you need to talk to your attorney about that and see how it can be handled. Your attorney will probably say, just ignore them and they'll be fine. If they want to show up, it's a public place, they could show up, I guess. But I don't know if that's the answer you're looking for, Kay Diamond Rock. Now, here's another question. about CPS. What kind of questions does CPS ask kids? It depends on the allegations as well as the age of the child, but the questions are generally as open ended as possible, are used to assess whether or not the child is being abused or neglected. The social worker will first try to build some rapport with the child so he or she feels safe enough to talk. The social worker will ask who lives in the home, about pets and siblings, things like that. Things like they do, even their favorite foods and colors. They will ask what happens in trouble. They may ask if a child gets scared. They may ask what the child does when he or she um, feels safe enough to talk. The social worker will ask who lives in the home, about pets, siblings, things they like to do, even food and colors. They'll ask what happens when they get in trouble. They may ask the child ever gets scared. They may ask when the child does or he or not does or allegations. Um, uh, Child's favorite dinner and who cooks it. If there are allegations of sexual abuse, the social worker asks the child if anyone touches him or her in certain places, like the swimsuit area. A good investigator will ask non-leading, open-end questions that build rapport so that he or she gets the most accurate picture possible. Most of the questions have a second meaning, such as ask the child what their favorite dinner and who cooks it, will help the investigator determine if the child is being fed properly. Is a chance if the child answers um, the child's answers mac and cheese with chicken that mom cooks sometimes is a good indication the child's getting fed properly. If the child's unable to name a dinner that parents cook, or he or she says the parents never cook, um, says the parents never cook, and he or she can get food from a neighbor. This is concerning. If a parent asks what happens when you get in trouble and the child answers that he or she gets put in a timeout or spanked on the butt, the social worker can rule out physical abuse unless other evidence such as photos is presented. If a child answers that dad uses an extension cord to whip him or her, the social worker is going to be concerned about abuse. Physical abuse. And explore further. The social worker will follow the child lead as well. If the question shows something concerned, that issue will be dropped. If the child mentions something concerned, then the social worker will ask follow-up question to determine what actually is going on. Many CPS offices have special investigators that work with children who may have been sexually abused. The children are videoed during these talks because of the past, particularly in the 1980s. Investigators did not have enough training and mistakes were made. The CPS investigators who interviewed the children now they have this training and are taught never to lead a child on, as kids often want to please adults. This is why it's important to ask open-end questions that do not lead a child. That's why they'll now ask, what happens when you get in trouble, rather than who hits you? The second question makes an assumption and leads the child. It would help to know what the allegations are in order to answer your questions more clearly, but the questions asked will generally follow the allegations to determine if they have met. There's no abuse, physical or neglect. Let me go back here to our live stream here. Hey, Royal Money, I haven't seen you in a while. Glad to see you. Welcome to the podcast. I've been talking about Coors Digest and answering questions from Kid Diamond Rock. We had Betty Joe from Montana. She was in, and she left because it was moving too slow for her. What can I do you for, Royal Money? What is your question today, and how you been? You have any questions for me, Royal? We got some emojis there. One emoji we got from Philistine Gibson. She's from Canada. Welcome, Philistine. She's talked on the podcast before. She's the First Nation people. She's indigenous tribe, an Indian tribe. And in Canada, they call their Indians the First Nation. In our country, they call them uh, Native American Indians. So Royal Money says they terminated my daughter's father. What do you mean they terminated your daughter's father? And I'm a mess. Thanks for asking. How are you doing? I'm okay. And I'm sorry you're a mess. Now, you say the father, is that the biological father of the daughter? They have terminated my daughter's father. Now, you have a daughter, and the father is a biological parent, so he cannot see his children anymore. Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying? Monday coming, I'll be terminated. I feel so helpless and scared. Why would you be terminated, Royal Money? You said the father was. You're the mother? Boy, that sounds really terrible. I know how you feel to be terminated. You need to appeal that decision. You need to talk to your attorney about that. I'm trying to understand, Royal Money. You say that the father is terminated. Are you also terminated? You're the mother, right, Royal? You're the mother? And what was the reason why they're terminating your rights to your children? What are the reasons? And don't be so hopeless. I will help you out. I will stand behind you. They terminated him, and mine is on. What do you mean it's on? Is it on the court date to come up to be terminated? Oh, that sounds so terrible. Really sorry to hear that. Well, it's 9 o'clock, and I got to end my podcast. And I'm sorry I have to go, but I'll be on again tonight at 7 p.m. That's tonight at 7 p.m. And I want to take down my phone number because I can't take calls anymore. And I want to thank you all. I want to thank Royal Money. I hope you can talk to me tonight. And thank you, Royal Money. I forgot where you're from. Maybe you could tell me where you're from. Also, I want to thank Kay Diamond Rock from Maryland. Thank you for your comments and calling in. And then I want to thank Betty Wenderhole, who's the mother, the foster care mother. So thank you for coming back, and I hope to see you tonight. Royal Money. Thank you, Kay Diamond Rock from Maryland. And thank you, Betty from Montana. So God bless you all. Keep fighting for your kids. And I will see you tonight. This is Bob Pace.